Charles Manson in prison, didn't you? What was that story? Can you tell us that?
County jail. In the county jail. But let me tell you, Charlie wasn't the guy that you saw on the TV specials. All right. He was God, he was like 5'4", 5'5".
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel.
City boy, city boy.
I just clicked on this because this seems crazy. You wouldn't believe what Charles Manson did in jail, Danny Trejo. And with the thumbnail, it was implying that Danny Trejo was in jail with Charles Manson. Now, this is off the loom of me doing a reaction to Helter Skelter by the Beatles. And during that reaction, finding out, because I had always heard of the term Helter Skelter from Charles Manson. I didn't even know the Beatles had a song called Helter Skelter until I reacted to it. So that was very interesting for me. And that's what led me here, because I literally just did that reaction about a week ago. And so it's still fresh on the brain. And I don't know, I probably should watch a documentary on Charles Manson or something. I just feel like it's probably kind of dark. I know, like, the gist, dude started a cult. I think he had people murk other people. I don't really know the whole exacts of it. I just knew he was a crazy dude and people followed him. But even at the beginning, he was saying, like, Charles Manson was like 5'4". That's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of wild. Anyways, let's get into this, man. We're checking this out. Let me see. I think it's on Eclipse channel. No, it's on Chris Williamson's channel. He has a bunch of dope different interviews, and he does a lot of good honestly, there's a part of me, I would enjoy doing something like that, interviewing, like, people in general. I mean, I could just interview people, but like he has some powerful guests, and I guess you got to kind of work your way up to that. But it does seem cool having these type of conversations with some heavy-hitting people. Anyways, if you don't know who I am, Black Pegasus, you can like, share, comment, subscribe. Link in the description to my other channels. Let's see what's up here. You wouldn't believe what Charles Manson did in jail, Danny Trejo.
So you met Charles Manson in prison, didn't you? What was that story? Can you tell us that?
County jail.
In county jail.
In the county jail. But let me tell you, Charlie wasn't the guy that you saw on the TV specials. All right. He was God, he was like 5'4", 5'5", little scrawny. He was poor, kind of like a bum, really. He had a string for a belt. He tied his pants with a string because he couldn't afford a belt, and everybody else, we dressed, cool, ironed our pants, and so some of the prisoners were going to take advantage of him because they take advantage of anybody that's small. And we found out that he could hypnotize you. So we let him sleep in front of our cell to make sure that nobody would hurt him. And he got us loaded on weed and 3 other guys in the cell. Everybody else had like 6 guys in their cell. We only had 3 because.
So the initial reaction to Charles Manson being in jail from a criminal is, we're going to take advantage of him because he's little. That's crazy. Yo, I'm not trying to go to jail, bro. Oh, man. Oh, Lord have mercy. I remember I did go to jail, but I was not in there. I don't even think I had to be in there for over 24 hours. And I was like, I will never go back. Never. Taking your freedoms away. I remember having to go to the Scared Straight program after that. I know this is the silliest thing, but the thing that resonated with me the most was one of the inmates talking about one of the prison guards making microwave popcorn and how good the microwave popcorn smelled and how he could not have the freedom to just get up and make some popcorn whenever he wanted. And I was just thinking about, I don't know why that stuck with me to this day. I was only like 17 or 18 when I had to go to that program. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I want to make popcorn. To this day, I like make my own popcorn on the pan, with some oil and butter. And yeah, I don't know. That's what stuck with me for that whole thing. Is like, nah, I need the freedom to make some popcorn, y'all. So anyways, that's crazy.
We were special. I had two killers with me, and then he got us loaded on weed, and I said, "Well, get us loaded on heroin." So the three of us tried to get loaded. He got two of us loaded on heroin. One guy just woke up, and afterwards I asked him, how come you couldn't do him? And he asked, "Did you ever get loaded on heroin?" He goes, "No." Well, your mind doesn't know how to work. Do you understand? Your mind doesn't know how to react. So if I tell you to do something while you're hypnotized and you haven't done it before, or you don't know how to do it, you'll just wake up.
Hold on. Is he saying Charles Manson really did hypnotize people? Because I'm pretty sure Charles Manson was in the MK Ultra experiments at some capacity. What are we talking about? He could hypnotize people? For real? And they start doing what they doing?
And that's what kept happening.
Yeah, so you're saying that he got you guys loaded up on heroin or weed, but there was no heroin or weed in the room, right? He was doing this purely through hypnosis.
People know when I get loaded on heroin, my eyes, I get red under my eyes. And it's like literally.
Dude, Danny Trejo has had the craziest life. So I didn't put two and two together. Chris Williamson put it together quick. He's saying that he was hypnotizing to make them feel like they were going through that experience. But if you had never been through that experience, then he couldn't hypnotize you to do something you've never done before, which is an interesting concept of hypnosis. So you can't get people to do something they have never done before.
The first thing, blah, you throw up, you dump. And I mean, me and Chato it's like we both got blah. He dumped in the sink, I dumped in the toilet, and looked like, hey, what you doing? And whoa, everybody was like shocked. And this Johnny Ronnie Cruz, he was like, well, what happened? He'd never gotten loaded. And boy, I was sorry when they transferred Charlie out.
You've basically got unlimited access to anything that you want because he can just keep on hypnotizing you back into it. What was he in for? Do you know why he was there?
Yeah, I have no idea. He was nothing of any, because he was a petty thief. He wasn't. You know what? And not to speak ill of the dead, but Charlie couldn't have done that any place, any time, but right there. And my friend George Perry knew him in Frisco, knew him in Oakland. Okay, and he was a scrawny little hippie, and the girls that he got, Linda Kasabian, all of them were broken. All of them. They were up in Oakland and San Francisco being ripped off by the pimps and raped by the pimps. And so he came around with a big bus and some acid and said, let me lead you. So it was kind of like they looked at him like, yeah.
Oh, so he preyed on the weak, which is very common for predators or, people in that position to just find people weaker than them and just kind of be their haven. That's interesting. I didn't know he was a petty thief. He was just so he was like a petty thief that could do hypnosis, so kind of like a magician. My thing is, where did he learn this hypnosis? Also, hold on, let's look this up, because was Charles Manson involved in the MK Ultra experiments? There is no direct evidence that Charles Manson was officially involved in CIA's MK Ultra program, but the connection has been heavily speculated especially by researchers, journalists, and conspiracy theorists. I'm a conspiracy theorist, I guess. What we do know, MK Ultra was a real CIA mind control project that ran from the early 1950s. Charles Manson spent time in federal prison and reformities throughout the 1950s, and during this time, I'm watching an interview with Danny Trejo, and he was talking about being in county jail with Charles Manson, and Charles Manson, hypnotizing him and his friends, period. Can you figure out when this event took place? And is there a possibility? Let me rephrase that question. Question mark. Also, when did Charles Manson learn how to hypnotize people? Let this play.
He's the Messiah, you know.
They were already vulnerable. They were already primed for somebody like him to come in and save them.
They were so broken, you know, and so needed somebody to take care of them. You know?
In the same way that you could have done with a bit of extra heroin or weed in prison.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for tuning in.
Dude, that's crazy. That actually, I might have to go peep this interview because this seems like a crazy interview. And Danny Trejo's been through a lot and has overcome and become one of the coolest, like one of those subculture actors. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, it's super dope. Okay. Yes, Danny Trejo recounted an experience in which Marilyn Manson hypnotized him and other inmates during their time in Los Angeles County Jail in 1961. Trejo described Manson as a small, unassuming figure. Regarding Manson's knowledge of hypnosis, while there is no official record detailing when or where he learned this technique, it's documented that he had an interest in manipulation and control from an early age. Some accounts suggest Manson may have acquired hypnotic skills during his time in prison, where he had access to various self-help psychological materials. While the exact origins of... Okay, hold on. See, there's holes in this. Hold on. Okay. You just stated that Charles Manson spent time in federal prison and reformities throughout 1950s and 60s. I just asked you. Hold on. I just asked you when he hypnotized Danny Trejo, and you were saying that should have happened in 1961. Period. Is there any correlation with the MK Ultra experiment that Charles Manson learned how to put people under hypnosis through that program? Since you mentioned his first engagement being in 1950. Let's just see what it says. That's funny. It doesn't even connect its own dots and stuff it tells you. ChatGPT, AI. Manson spent a significant portion of his early life in various correctional institutions throughout the 1950s and 60s. During these periods, he had access to self-help. Potential links to MK Ultra program active. So the MK Ultra program was active from 1953 to 1973, aimed to explore mind control techniques, including hypnosis. Okay. While definitive evidence is lacking, the convergence of Manson's demonstrated hypnotic abilities, his time in institutions during the height of MK Ultra activities, and his association with individuals connected to the program suggest a plausible, albeit unconfirmed, link. These factors contribute to ongoing speculation. So, do you guys see what I'm saying? Y'all see what I'm saying there? Like, when I first asked it, it's just, it's speculative, only conspiracy theorists. Then when you start going down these timelines, like, you're like, there's a possibility, you know? I don't know. Anyways, that's crazy. That got deeper than I even anticipated. That was, you won't believe what Charles Manson did in jail. Believe it, y'all. Not me, what I'm saying with MK Ultra, but I don't know, man. That's actually a wild one. That got my mind alert. I was kind of struggling today. See, I like doing stuff like this where I can talk back and forth and learn some stuff. And with Chat GPT, you're able to figure things out very quickly. And not that I figured it out, but now we're like, okay, this is the correlation. This is why the speculative belief is there. And this is why there is a possibility this was there. You know, being locked up in federal prison at the same time that they're doing MK Ultra experiments. And then you come out of prison and all of a sudden can hypnotize people. There's something there. Now, correlation doesn't equal, what is it, causation? But there is still, that seems pretty ill. Anyways, let me know, y'all. Holla.
City boy, city boy.